Stop mitering your internal skirting board joints. Just cease and desist, please. That's not how you're supposed to do it. And I'm going to explain to Mo the reason why. What I'm going to do, first of all, I'm going to cut an internal skirting border joint using the miter saw, 245s. So let's just do that, and let me just explain to you and show you exactly the reason why you're not supposed to do it. Okay, we've got two thin old bits of skirting board here, and I'm going to cut 245s. And there's the other. That's two skirting boards, and these are very thin French skirting boards, and they're absolutely awful. Yeah, what they're about 10mm thick, if that. Normally they're about 18, 20mm thick. In some cases, as much as an inch, 25mm. So let's say, for instance, you did this, right? You created your joint using the 45 degree, like so in chop saw, and you can think to yourself, oh, that's not that bad, is it? Nah, it's fine. Providing the actual wall itself is square, and more often than not, it's not square. No. And even if it was square, even if it was square, it still is not correct. And there's various reasons for that. One is when you get your timber, and it gets climatised to your living space. Say for instance you're doing it in your lounge. Well, the wood's going to dry out. Now, timber shrinks in its thickness, in its width. That way it will shrink, and that way it will shrink, not that way. Now, if that happens, and it will happen, that joint will naturally become gappy. You'll end up with a big gap in it, which will look ugly. Yeah, because when you painted all your skirting boards white and what have you, well, that'd be like a black line you'll see down the middle of your skirting boards. So there's a reason why we don't miter our internal skirting board joints. There's that one as well. If the walls are not square and what have you, and more often than not, well, the likelihood is you're going to get a gap. You'll be looking down that gap as well, which will look just looks awful. So it's not how you do it. Now, where you do use the chop saw is to do your longest length first as a butt joint. So what we'll do is we'll grab this piece of wood here, and this is going to be my butt joint. Just cut on 90 degrees. Just chop it off at 90 degrees, okay? So you butt that, doing the longest length first, and you butt that into the corner. Okay? So that's butt that. And you can fix it at that point if you want. You've got to do anything with it. Just, nice if it stayed there. Get a bit of wood and hold it there. Alright, there you go. So you've got your butted joint there, into the corner. Alright, moving that up like so. The next one though, which is this one, needs to be fitted, not buttoned up like so, obviously it's a massive gap, but it has to be scribed. And to scribe it, you've got to either try and mark around there so it actually follows the shape of the moulding. That's where it gets tricky, you see. But there's a technique, which I'm about to show you. It's really easy. All you've got to do is miter it. You can think, so what? You just said don't miter it. No, what you do is you put a 45 degree on the end, just bring it over like so. Now we've got a 45 degree on there, and you think, why on earth do you do that? You just said you didn't want that. Well, we do want that. And the reason we want in this case is that 45 degree will mimic the line around the moulding that we've got to cut. So like for instance here, you can probably see it. If I just scribble on there, you can see there is a line that's followed the shape of the moulding. Now the one I'm going to say to you is to ignore is that one. Because like this skirting board is cupped, it's not flat. So that line, when you miter it, there's another reason why you shouldn't miter your internal joints anyway. So likelihood is that line, when you try and follow that with a saw, it's going to be, you can have a curve in it, you don't want that. So what I tend to do is, that one, I'll use a square and actually just draw a straight line at that point, 90 degrees. Yeah, so we end up with 90 degrees, and that's what we cut. There's various ways you can do that. You could do it with your back saw, or any saw in fact. And you want to ideally back cut it a little bit as well. And the reason for that is it gives you a bit of clearance behind the joint. It makes a neater joint. But what we're going to use is the chop saw. Some people are going to shout at me for doing this, but I know people on site do this all the time. They do. You know you do, because it's easy. All right. What I'm going to use is the chop saw, you see. Make that's tight there. To cut the first part, the straight part. But you bring it up like so, which is where it becomes dangerous. You shouldn't do this. Okay? You could create a jig if you want to. If you're doing a lot of it, that'd be the best thing to do. But just for the purpose of this video, all I'm going to do is follow it. So the first part of this joint, I've cut using the chop saw. The next part of this joint, I'm going to be cutting that with a coping saw, which is one of these. You could use a jigsaw if you want, with a coping saw blade in it, which is like a narrow blade. So we're going to put this in the vise, and I'm going to back cut it. Now we're going to back cut that as well in a minute, just with a chisel. So it's actually really quite quick to do. It's, you think, oh my god, I don't do all this faff. It's actually really, really easy. And all we've got to do is follow that line, which you can't see from that direction. I could put you on the other tripod. That's what I'll do. Just put you on the other tripod just so you can see what I'm doing. Oh, sorry about that. To get dizzy, probably. So over here, you can see what we're doing now. So we'll bring you over here. I have to move the light, otherwise I'm going to blind you. Blinded by the light. Right. So now what we're going to do is we're going to follow this line here with the coping saw. This coping saw blade's a bit coarse, but just for the purpose of the video, that'll be okay. So 90 degrees at that point, but then I want to bring it back. So I'm back cutting as I go. And we're going to follow that line. Round we go. And then here as well, you could use a straight cut for that if you want to. Like a back saw, or even a dovetail saw if you've got one. Or maybe a, argument's sake, a Japanese pull saw. And just finish off that cut there. What I'm going to do is, I'm going to use a chisel, I want to back cut this a little bit. And that means that this leading edge will make contact with the other skirting board and not the back edge. You don't want the back edge to make contact because that could create obstructions and prevent you from getting the joints close together. So I'm just going to run a chisel down there. Now you could have done this on the chop saw actually. And if you do it with a hand saw, you can do it at the time. But I'm just going to use a chisel, just to back cut a little bit. You can even use a Stanley knife if you want to do the same job, or bullnose plane even. Now, because I'm doing a video, obviously it's taken longer than what it should do. That would already be on. Right, anyway, I'll back cut that little bit with a chisel. That's already back cut, that's okay. I think that's alright. So hopefully, you might need a bit of tweaking, but hopefully that will actually go straight onto our mock-up over there. And it should be a reasonably good joint. Well, I'm not editing this video, so yeah, fingers crossed. Bit of tweaking there, I think. I'll see what I've done. I haven't followed the line properly. I need to take a little bit more off here. Tweaking that. More to go straight on. So back cutting a little bit, you can't see them. Just back cutting the actual straight joint as well, because that can interfere with the joint going up. What you don't want to touch is the leading edge unless you really, really have to. Well, there you go. Not too bad at all. Probably do a bit more tweaking, but as you can see, the what you won't be doing is you won't be looking down the 45 degree. The only way you're going to see down that joint now is if you've got your head on the floor and you're looking down this way, which you're not going to be doing, are you? It's very unlikely. So yeah, that's gone together okay. Now what you do is, if you are going to use any caulk, put the caulk on first and then put the joint up. Don't put the caulk on afterwards because you make a nasty mess and you have to clean it all off. Do it this way and you'll be able to clean off the excess afterwards, but then you'd be like a very thin line of it instead of like trying to create like a curve in your joint. Yeah, like a finger shape or something stupid like that, which looks awful. So that, yeah, it could do a bit of tweaking, but on the whole, that's not bad. What doesn't help is that skirting board here, it's got a curve in it. Both these skirting boards are cupped. They're not perfectly straight. You probably might be just about to see. So you could tweak that by peeling a little bit out from the middle. See if you can just do that a little bit. Maybe that'll make a difference. Get it a bit tighter. And obviously when you're pairing with a chisel, what you don't want to do is pair your fingers at the same time, because that hurts. I've done it before. I think that's about right. Yeah, it's okay. Ooh. Yeah, that's right. I do. So yeah, so that's how you do it. So that's how you do a, where's the right end? A scribed joint, so it goes over the top of the actual moulding itself. My hand's a bit shaky at the minute. So yeah, like so. So there you go. So scribe your internal joints. Don't miter them with the chop saw just because it's easy, because it'll be a shitty job. They just use the miter saw for the, well, doing the marking stages, obviously cutting to length, but only for the external joints, not the internal. No. Don't do it, it looks terrible. And also, don't buy these stupid thin skirting boards. These are scraps that I had. They're crap. As you can see, that is definitely not flat. Anyway, leave most kind, boot the old like button, helps the channel, you know. Toodaloo. And don't miter your internals. Ooh, sounds painful.